So, good morning. This morning I want to talk about heartbreak from a Buddhist perspective and start with a quote from Rumi, the 13th century Persian writer and poet whose work I really admire. And this quote is attributed to him, quote, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens. You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens." And as you know, the metaphor break your heart refers to that intense emotional pain or sadness when we experience loss or profound disappointment. And the assumption is that the metaphor originated because we typically feel that pain of loss and sadness in our upper chest. And the truth of impermanence is a painful aspect of this because it often leads to the breaking of the heart. For example, the loss of a loved one, the end of a cherished phase of life, these can feel like profound ruptures in our lives. But these experiences aren't just about loss and sadness. They're also an opportunity to see the transient nature of all things and an opportunity to let go of attachments. You know, clinging to what we cannot hold on to is like trying to grasp water in our hands. It's just going to slip away. And I love that water in the hand metaphor. The breaking of the heart then is not some sort of, divine punishment. It's a natural consequence of living in a world of constant change. It's just an inevitable thing that's going to happen to all of us probably more than once in our lives. And when we accept this truth, as hard as it is, we begin to soften our resistance and open ourselves more to the flow of life. As the heart breaks, it also expands. As the heart breaks, it also expands. And this expansion is not just an emotional response, it's an opportunity for spiritual transformation. The cultivation of compassion, as you know, is a key element on our path. And compassion arises when we recognize the suffering of others as inseparable from our own. We recognize that we all suffer. And the breaking of the heart allows us to feel this connection to others more deeply. It strips away the barriers of ego and self-centeredness. When we experience heartbreak, our initial response is often to feel alone and isolated with our pain. But as we sit with our suffering and allow it just to arise and emerge, we experience it without pushing it away, we begin to see that it is a natural part of the shared human experience. All of us, at some point, face loss, disappointment, and grief, perhaps multiple times. And this realization inspires us to reach out to others with kindness and understanding, knowing that they too are navigating some challenges in their lives. So Rumi's quote speaks to the transformative power of suffering and the potential for growth, compassion, and awakening, all of which arise when we embrace life's challenges with courage and openness. We don't run away from them. We don't push them away. We don't try to distract ourselves. Because suffering is an inherent part of existence. It's fundamental to the Buddhist teachings. And the First Noble Truth, of course, says that life is marked by dissatisfaction, marked by pain, marked by loss, marked by impermanence. But it's not, this awareness, embracing this knowledge is not meant to lead us to despair. It is meant to inspire a deeper understanding of the nature of suffering and its role in our journey. Rumi's quote aligns with this perspective, suggesting that the repeated breaking of the heart through loss, disappointment, and hardship is a gateway, potentially, if we embrace it, to greater awareness and compassion. Many years ago, this happened to me. My heart was badly broken, and it was one of the things that really set me on this path, my suffering from that. It involved a significant loss, and the pain just consumed me. But it was then that I came upon or revisited some of the teachings of the Buddha, and it really was a catalyst for me. As I talked about a couple months ago, loss or some other experience of acute suffering will either break us or break us open. It will either, we hit a fork in the road. It'll either break us and defeat us, send us into despair and bitterness, or break us open with a greater open heart. When our hearts break, we are confronted with our vulnerability, our fragility, and the raw nature of our emotions. And it can feel like, let's be clear, it can feel like a shattering of the ego. This false self that clings to permanence, that tries to hold on to control. But in our practice, such moments of vulnerability, when we're really suffering that way, are opportunities for insight. As long as the heartbreak does not lead to bitterness, anger, and despair. This is why applying the tools of this practice is so important when our hearts are broken. We don't necessarily think of it right off the bat. We're so consumed by our suffering. But if we remind ourselves that this is an opportunity, that these moments of vulnerability reveal the impermanent and interconnected nature of all things, which helps us let go of our attachments, let go of the illusions that cause suffering. You may have had this experience, I certainly have. As the heart breaks, it also softens. It can create space for empathy, love, and deeper connection to others. The process of breaking open is not a one-time event. It's a continuous unfolding. Each experience of pain or loss, however large, however small, if met with the tools of our practice, challenges us to confront our resistance to change and our fear of letting go. So in this way, the heart's breaking open becomes a practice of surrender and acceptance. It encourages us to stay present with our pain, observing it without judgment, observing it without aversion. And by doing so, we allow our hearts to open naturally without forcing it or resisting the process. In a Buddhist sense, an open heart, one that's been opened by loss or disappointment, is one that is free from the constraints of ego and attachment. It's a heart that embraces the world with equanimity and compassion. It recognizes the shared suffering of all beings. The breaking of the heart is not an end. It is a means to this openness. It is through our willingness to face our pain and vulnerability that we cultivate the qualities of loving kindness. We cultivate the compassion, which are central to our path. Practically speaking, this teaching invites us to approach our struggles with a sense of curiosity and courage. So instead of avoiding or numbing our pain, we lean into it. We see it as a teacher, which guides us towards greater self-awareness. So, for example, when we experience the loss of a loved one, our initial reaction may be to shut down, to close off, to retreat into ourselves. But if we allow ourselves to feel the depth of our grief, as hard as that might be, we may discover a profound sense of love and a profound sense of gratitude for the time we shared with that person. This love, in turn, can inspire us to cherish our relationships and extend kindness to others who are suffering. Rumi's quote, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens," beautifully encapsulates the Buddhist understanding of suffering as a path to awakening. It reminds us that the pain we experience is part of the journey. It is not something to be feared or avoided. Rather, it is something to embrace as an integral part of our spiritual growth. Remember, the Buddha said we welcome all experience, including painful ones. By allowing our hearts to break open, we move closer to the realization of our interconnectedness and the boundless compassion that lies at the heart of the Dharma. Rumi's quote, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens," is a profound reminder, a powerful reminder of the transformative potential of suffering. Suffering is not our enemy. The breaking of the heart is not an end, it is a beginning, a doorway to greater awareness, a doorway to greater compassion and spiritual growth. By embracing the challenges of life with an open heart, we move closer to the realization of our true nature. We move closer to the boundless love that lies at the heart of the Dharma. So those are some thoughts this morning on heartbreak.